Let's go! Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Head to win. Circle K, Arizona location where you get any size polar pop or prop for just 79 cents now through September 3rd.
Woo! And of course, is Game 1. Our coverage is brought to you by CoachStarkHomes. Are you in the market for a home? If so, get a hold of Coach Stark today. He's going to help you out. You can get in touch with him at 623-695-3929. Go to CoachStarkHomes.com or follow him at CoachStarkHomes.
I am Anthony Totri, joined as always by the one, the only Erik. We got DJ Coop behind him. He is making all of the magic happen. And ladies and gentlemen, come on! It is time! What time is it? To meet us on mail! Because your Arizona State Sun Devils took it to the Wyoming Cowboys 48-7. In the season opener of the 2024 season. And we had a jam-packed post-game show for all of you. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a 5-star review, and vibe with us as we talk about your Arizona State Sun Devils. Erik, we got a ton to get into in terms of the specific, but man, how you feeling right now?
This music? Oh, it's got me feeling good.
Let's go. Let's go.
We deserve this.
We
Totri.
do. We so deserve this, bro.
You, all of us here today, everybody in the chat, everybody listening on audio today, tomorrow, a week, a year from now, because you want to capture the vibes, we deserved this.
It's so beautiful.
What, like, genuinely, besides the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life at the end of the game?
Oh, we'll get into
perfect
that.
game.
We'll get
a
into
perfect
that.
game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the best season opener since...
that I can remember in Arizona State history.
Like, this was incredible.
Yeah. From start to finish.
Like, literally, fucking right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, dude. Oh, my gosh.
It was, I mean, again, like, we'll get into the players. We'll get into, you know, the drive of the game, all of the fun stuff. I think for me, there was a lot of anticipation going into this game, right? Obviously, a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth about what Arizona State football did last season and just about Arizona State football, and you get there. And first and foremost, the crowd did a phenomenal job showing up tonight, as they usually do in season openers. Mm-hmm. But tonight, it was from the jump.
Sure.
Arizona State, the defense, which, again, if you've been listening to the PHNX Sun Devil show, we've been just absolutely hounding the fact that this defense looks improved. Brian Ward, a second year with this system for the Sun Devils. You got a couple returners and you got some playmakers on defense. And the moment that it started, it was, like you said, nearly perfection.
Yeah, listen, there are so many players and individual like moments that we'll get into, but from a wide scale perspective, like you said, we've raved about this defense. We've talked about this offense. We even voiced certain concerns and whatnot and what this game could hold. And I'm happy to say we were both wrong with our score predictions.
Yeah.
We both thought ASU would win for sure. We both knew that ASU was the better team, but we expected like some adjustment period.
I mean, you always do, right? It's college football. It's a new season.
Especially with this team, with the amount of transfers on both sides of the ball. You have a redshirt freshman quarterback. You have so many new pieces on defense. You have players on both sides of the ball that haven't played in over 1,000 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you had so much going into this game that, quite frankly, could be given as an excuse to not start hot.
No, you're absolutely right.
And now we're sitting here, and not only did they start hot, but they sustained it.
Yeah.
They continued it. It wasn't just this momentum of seeing everybody and all the fans at the beginning of the game and the walkout and all of that. And then it's a quarter, 2 quarters in, and you fumble around a little bit and you lose that momentum. No, they kept it till the very end.
Yeah.
And that shows, A, the fact that they're all gelled together. right? And especially this defense. We are going to rave about this defense tonight. But also the fact that this team is just so much more talented than last season. We are not talking about the same football team, Anthony Totri.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Neither are the people in the chat. House of Heat Sports, I called it. Sam Leavitt is the next Taylor Kelly, if not better. Jagger in the chat, hell of a game. A lot of forks up in the chat. LTC, Lobos score again. As well, you've obviously got the Wildcats still going on. House of Heat Sports again. U of A looks terrible. It's awesome. Sharon, you guys, we have a good team. Let's go. LTC also in there. Great to see all of you here, fam.
There's so many of you in here right now. Everybody in here is having a good time. We're all happy. We appreciate all of you being here. Make sure you hit that like button.
Yes,
make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is literally like, I could not have imagined this going better. I said it.
No, you're right.
I said it for the last 2 weeks. Wyoming was the perfect week 1 opponent for this team because you had to take them seriously, but you were clearly more talented than them, clearly better than them. And they showed that. And that's what good teams do. And like, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and start talking about 5, 6, 7 weeks into the season, but talking about right now, this team in this moment, they showed us a glimpse of who they truly are. And that is a complete 180 from last season.
100%. Absolutely 100%. Look, we'll get into the players, but I want to start off with the coordinators.
Sure.
I want to start off with Brian Ward and then Marcus Arroyo on the offensive side of the ball. You saw last season just the not how putrid the offense was at the start of the game, last year against Southern Utah, but it was slow. It was methodical. And when it got stuck, and it was bad, which ultimately led to Kenny Dillingham taking over the play calling at a certain point in the season. And now you have Marcus Arroyo, who the moment he stepped onto the field in Tempe, the vibes were different. He gives the head coach energy, which I think is great to have that also with Kenny Dillingham. This is a guy that, again, is closer in age to these players than Bo Baldwin was at Arizona State, and you feel it. You feel the energy that Marcus Arroyo brings both on game day and then especially in practice. And those two, Arroyo and Brian Ward, the game plan for tonight was, again, it was absolutely phenomenal from start to finish, and it wasn't just the starters, right? Even in the third quarter when you started to see more rotational players in, those guys understood what was being asked of them. Now, if you go back to Arizona State performances in years past and you get to this point, which in and of itself is a rare thing for Arizona State to dominate in this fashion, then you put in the backups and then you start to see a little bit of a trickle effect, right? And it's not just ASU. That's just college football in general.
Life. That's any sport, right? You're blowing a team out at the end of a basketball game in the NBA and college basketball and high school basketball. You put the end of your bench in, and then the score evens out a little bit. But listen, taking away the end of this game, which, by the way, a lot of our backups did really good. And I'm sure we'll get to that at the very end. But the Zyrus pick 6 off the top, perfect, beautiful. This team was a prepared team. This team was somebody who knew exactly who they were playing, exactly how to take advantage of that, and the most important thing, exactly what made them better. And they absolutely, to the max, maximized that and showed that almost every single possession. Even on the plays where things didn't go great, things didn't go perfectly, you still were like, oh, I see what they were doing there. Oh, there was a slight mistake. You tweaked that, whether it was a little bit of a Sam Leavitt overthrow or if it was Jordan Tyson dropping the ball in the end zone. I mean, these are negative things that can so easily be cleaned up that this team, like, you would maybe kind of expect a team in this position with this many moving parts and pieces to be a little bit just disorganized, getting their mind about, getting their stuff together and feeling like, hey, maybe by the third or the fourth quarter, they really hit their stride. How many times you see, again, like this U of A game, we don't know the final score of it now, but the first half, it was very close. In the second half, U of A opened things up, right? How likely would it have been for ASU to maybe just kind of stumble off the front and then pick it up at the end and end up winning by 2 scores, 3 scores, right? No. This team, I was right there, right on the field when they were coming out through the tunnel, walking out. There was a different energy about this. And to your point, that goes to these coordinators. It goes to this head coach. Kenny said in his press conference earlier this week that he feels more involved on every side of the ball. He feels more in control. Marcus Arroyo, you mentioned it when we were up there watching the game in the press box. You were like, these are not the most complicated plays, but they're being called at the most perfect times.
They were just well designed.
In the most perfect ways. And it made life easy on your redshirt freshman quarterback, Sam Leavitt, who had a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
2 or 3 plays aside, I would say damn near perfect.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's a good point, right? So we were sitting in the press box, and I believe it was the first offensive drive in the third quarter. And they were split. They had 2 wide receivers to the right side of the set. They had 1 on the left side, and they had Shimon Matire kind of at the bottom right next to Josh Atkins at left tackle. And as soon as the ball was snapped, I believe it was a play action, and the running back stayed in the block. Shimon also stayed in the block, and it was a very slow developing play. It was well designed, but you understood that you needed extra protection. So you had the tight end there, you had the running back, and it was picked apart beautifully by Leavitt. Wyoming was sitting in his zone. He waited. Tyson came across the middle, and it was a 20-yard completion, and it was just executed flawlessly by Sam, which again is a tough thing to do in your first career start at a new school with a new offensive coordinator, and you have the lead. And again, like, it was just methodical. It was surgical. Insert any word you want to use right there, because it was a masterclass by Marcus Arroyo, by Sam Leavitt. And I think my favorite part about this is, you can look to Arizona and you could point out Teteroa McMillan, and he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. He is that offense. And you look and you watch this Arizona State game, which I'll watch it again, and you go through and see the amount of players that contributed to this Arizona State offense, which is great now in week 1. But when you get to a week 7, a week 9, and knock on wood, you don't want to see anybody get hurt, or you get to a point where there are opposing teams that are just game planning for a Jordan Tyson or for a Cameron Skattebo. And you say, you know what, like everybody's bringing up in the chat, we can go 4 running backs deep if we want to. And that's without Raleek Brown even playing.
100%. And also in the wide receiver room as well. There's talk about Jake Smith low-key might turn into wide receiver 1 from Danny in the chat. But you also had good games from X as well. Like you said, Jordan Tyson had a good game. He could have had a better game as well. Melquan Soval had a very solid game, had 1 really long play, good in the return game as well. This team, we preached it for months at this point, is deep. Yeah. Right? And maybe their top end talent, like Elijah Badger, who didn't start for Florida today, or BJ Green, who didn't start for Colorado this past week. Maybe some of their top end talent from last season was gone. Right? But how they filled out this room, and especially how they filled out the room on the back end. And this is a coaching staff that they had a lot to work with. Yeah. And they had a lot of moving parts in those pieces, especially on the back end, where players that other teams had given up on. Yeah. Right? Or players like Jake Smith and Xavier Alford, who hadn't played. And Jake Smith's first catch was like the first one in almost 2 million minutes. Yeah. Right? I did the math on that. Like, seriously, it's since December 5th, 2020. That was the last time Jake Smith recorded a catch in a game. Absurd. Right? And he looked good.
Look, I mean, again, Jake Smith, for the majority of fall camp, was running with the 2s, which again, and we tried to say it during the camp shows, was that this isn't something that's like personal against Jake Smith. This is more so you have so much depth at wide receiver. And again, you may not have a Teteroa McMillan on this team, but you don't need a Teteroa McMillan on this team based off of the way that this offense is built, right? This is a team that you have Jordan Tyson as your number 1 wide receiver. He only had 4 catches today, right? But he looked really good when he had the ball in his hands. Melquan Soval, again, a smaller, undersized wide receiver by Division I college football standards, had a phenomenal outing today. You look at guys like Xavier Guillory, he got his touches. Shimon Matire, he got his touches at tight end. Like, you had just a boatload, a full stable full of guys that were capable of just helping Sam Leavitt move the ball down the field. And that's exactly what you wanted to see in game 1.
Sure. And even with guys like X, he was getting open even when he didn't get the ball. Yeah. Right? There's so many options for this offense. There's so many options for Sam Leavitt. And what's impressive to me about Leavitt is that usually when there's not like that number 1 guy, you see like a quarterback very much rely. You know where you're going. You kind of keep your eyes there. Or when you have a Cam Skattebo in the backfield, it's like, okay, Cam's here. I'm going to hand the ball off. No, he knew what to do with the weapons that he had. It's a testament to so many people. It's a testament to the talent around him, right? The depth in the wide receiver room and the running back room. It's a testament to the coordinators as well, especially Marcus Arroyo, but also have to throw in Sean Aguano out there as well.
Running back.
And the running backs coach. Running backs looked incredible today on not just running, but also catching as well. Lots of screen passes, including that Kyson Brown play. That was electric, right? And it's a testament to Leavitt. But all throughout all of this, I have said repeatedly, especially this week, the number one key to getting Leavitt in rhythm, to making sure the running backs could actually perform and the wide receivers can catch the ball, was what?
I don't remember, to be honest
with you. How dare you?
We do a lot of shows.
It's the offensive line.
You're right.
And the offensive line looked really solid today.
They did.
Like, really good. Even when Sam was pressured, there was a hole for him to escape in and for him to make his moves. And trust me, he made his moves.
Yeah.
But that offensive line played so good.
It was great. It was great to see. We'll get into the offensive line. Look, we've got over 100 people in here right now. Do us a solid. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. But, Erik, it is officially time to get to By the Numbers, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Of course.
Beautiful.
Erik, the only number that really matters is that final score. 48 for your Devils and just 7 for the Cowboys. Look, the passing yards for these two teams, 258 through the air for Sam Leavitt and company, 78 for Wyoming. On the ground, 241 yards for those Sun Devil running backs to just 40 for Wyoming. Total yards, 499 corralled by your Sun Devils to just $118. And then the turnovers here. Arizona State forcing 3 turnovers to Wyoming's 0, and time of possession here going in favor of Arizona State. 37 minutes and change to Wyoming's 22:56. Erik, for you, out of all of these numbers, which one stands out the most?
The score.
The score.
This is the score.
That's fair.
And you know what? We were talking about it because we had to leave back here for the postgame show midway through the third quarter, right? We're listening to the game on the drive back. If that starting offense or even the second string offense stayed in, they could have put up 60-something.
Yeah.
And if that first string defense stayed in, there's no way they're scoring that BS touchdown at the end of the game. Don't even get me started.
We'll get into that.
Don't even get me started. But listen, that final score is so indicative of an offseason that we have all spent speculating. And quite frankly, for people like you and me, being called crazy for thinking that this team was going to be good on either side of the ball.
Yeah.
We've been called crazy. We've been called nuts. We've been called that we don't know what we're talking about. No, this is the worst team in the Big 12. This is vindication. And this isn't everything, right? There's still a lot more to this season.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more for them to prove, a lot more for them to be better, for sure.
Yeah. You're 100%
But
right.
this game could not have gone any better.
Outside of the BS touchdown.
Listen, you know what?
You want to get into that real quick?
You know what, man?
Just
the weakest, lamest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Lame as hell.
You were down 48-0. There is less than 30 seconds left in the game, and you're going to call not one, but 2 timeouts.
Yeah.
And then celebrate when you score a touchdown. Celebrate.
It's crazy, and it's also like, and this doesn't get talked about enough, it's reckless. It's dangerous, right? Like, your team is getting absolutely curb stomped 48-7. And these guys are going through, like, again, minor car accidents every single play.
Sure.
And for the fact of the matter is, you just don't want to give up a goose egg offensively. You're going to call timeout so that you can go try and score touchdowns. It's a pathetic, absolutely pathetic, just coaching performance from Wyoming. And I mean, to be honest with you, again, it's dangerous. It's reckless. And if somebody got hurt,
right,
you're like, that's just, it's ridiculous, to be completely honest with you. And look, this post-game show is just getting started. We've got a phenomenal quote that I was just sent.
Oh, word?
From the presser.
Oh,
Kenny
wow.
Dillingham. We will get into that, but we are going to take just a short break to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Branded Bills. Are also a partner with Arizona State. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, they have it all. They've got you covered with performance and style. We're getting some shipped here.
They are
they're fresh. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a hat guy.
You're a hat guy.
I'm a hat guy. through and through.
I like hats.
You have really good hair,
I'm a low-key hat guy.
See, you have really good hair, so you can rock with either. For me, I'm a hat through and through type of guy. And let me tell you, when I heard that Branded Bills was coming on, I did a backflip.
Yeah, that's genuinely fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair, guys. If you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order, and their dedicated team is going to help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. Head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
You know, I'm being asked what's in my cup by our fantastic diehard Sharon. I will not share.
Say no water, Playboy. Say no water, Playboy.
But what I will tell everybody is about Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because we were out there for our fantasy football draft on Thursday, and what an absolute time it was. So much fun, such an incredible broadcast. Totri, don't know about your team. However, Gila River Resorts and Casinos, there's absolutely nobody that does it better. We were that Wild Horse Pass, but of course you can go to Lone Butte, Vequeva, Santan Mountain. They've got all the slot machines, live table games, live performances. They have everything that you need, whether it's just for a night out or a staycation, or you want to come to the many PHNX events we're going to be hosting there, including Suns and Cardinals watch parties. They have everything from upscale to approachable, some fine dining, some quick eats. It's all there, just like how ASU's offense and defense was everywhere and giving you a little taste of everything. Gila River Resorts and Casinos can also do that for you, because you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, also a proud sponsor of the Arizona State Sun Devils. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Everybody, there's over 100 of you in here right now. We made it through this offseason and all the smack talk. We did it! All the smack talk. We did it! If y'all don't hit a like from that, then I don't know why you're ever going to hit a like ever again.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Hit that like. Where do you want to go, Anthony Totri? This is your ride, and I'm on it, all right?
We're gonna get some sound a little bit later on in the show from that Kenny Dillingham press conference, but I do want to read the quote that I was just sent now, because I do think it is absolutely awesome.
I'm so excited. I'm genuinely pumped.
Kenny was asked, quote, "Do you think you were overlooked in the preseason?"
Oh,
and what do you think Kenny's answer would be?
Yes.
You think yes?
I think he said yes.
Quote, "Nope. We won 3 games and signed a bunch of kids no one wanted. We are right where we should be."
Fire me up, coach! Are you kidding me? And you know he said that knowing damn well how good his team is compared to what everybody thinks they are.
This team keeps receipts. I know for a fact they keep receipts.
100%. There's no reason to be disingenuous. There's no reason to pretend like that's not out there. There's no reason to say, you know what, guys, people do believe in us. No, they don't. They don't at all.
You got to put it together.
But I'll tell you this.
Tell me.
They're gonna. Oh, they are. I'll tell you what. There's going to be multiple college football pundits this week that are going to start saying their sleeper team in the Big 12. Oh, wow, Arizona State had a great week. And then after next week and the week after that, it's going to pick up some more steam.
Hey, remember when this team was voted to be last in the conference? And again, it's so early.
But
I get
this
that.
Is not
I get
a last place performance.
No. And I told you, and I'll say it with 100+ people here right now. If Arizona State finishes overall record-wise at the bottom of the Big 12, 24-hour stream just for y'all.
Sure.
I'll say it again with all of y'all. 24-hour stream of Arizona State.
We promise
worst overall record.
Can we promise the same thing if they have the best record in the Big 12? We can do that. Whether they're the best or the worst in the Big 12, we'll do a 24-hour stream.
I am, and I imagine most of you listening, watching, whatever, are college football sickos. You love college football. I was watching college football all day today. Erik can attest. On the drive over to the stadium, we had college football playing in the car.
Sure.
I watched TCU the other night that beat Stanford. TCU looks like hot garbage. Okay. Horned Frogs look absolutely cooked. They barely got it done against a bunch of nerds living out near San Jose. Okay. And then I turn on the games today. West Virginia got absolutely pummeled by Penn State. And I get it. It's Penn State. Offensively, they looked like garbage as well. Do people forget that the Houston Cougars play football in this conference?
It's insane.
I don't know if you watched them today, but I did. They look absolutely putrid. And we got Will in the chat. LMFAO, Houston is easily the worst team in the conference. Losing at home to UNLV by 20. That is the Marcus Arroyo pack with UNLV.
And then Danny also says Houston looked like one of the worst teams I've ever seen. The score didn't show it from the UNLV game, but that was painful to watch. And I also think like you look at Texas Tech as well. Our boy Jalen Conyers had an incredible grab, but against Abilene,
52 to 51.
And the only reason that they lost is because Abilene Christian went for it at the end of the game.
Yeah, man.
And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this right here, right now. This guy right here is an absolute sicko. Okay, absolute sicko. Football, but specifically also a college football junkie. He knows what he's talking about.
I'm watching this ASU game again tomorrow.
Oh, dude. I mean, come on. Come on.
It's what you have to, right? This is just such a good performance. You have to absolutely pick it apart.
And I think that there's also like the reason why it's such an enjoyable watch is because it wasn't just specific moments. It was all consistent. And Chad Johnson, I know he was asking for a shout out earlier. Thank you, Chad Johnson. Ocho Cinco in the chat. You are with us almost every single day of the week. We appreciate you. He said, very pleased. We look prepared and ready. No slow start. Not a lot of penalties. One thing with special teams needs work. That's for sure. We'll get to what needs work in a second, but the penalties.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Wyoming buried themselves.
Yeah.
Not only were they overwhelmed by the defense and they couldn't contain the offense, they also got in their own way. And part of that is because they were scared.
Yeah.
They were scared.
A bunch of bums.
I mean, seriously.
Like, let's just call it what it is.
They are a bunch of bums.
Like, and again, it is what it is. This was one team way better than the other team.
Without a doubt.
Like, that's what this game was. And you look at the stats, it shows it in every facet of the game.
Without the stats, the eye test, 5 seconds into the game, 30 minutes into the game, 2 hours into the game.
And there was, I get it, Wyoming was out their best 2 running backs.
I don't care.
That does not make a 39-point difference.
No.
It just doesn't.
You're on your best 2 running backs for sure, but at the same time, ASU dominated like you were. Right? Like ASU took advantage and absolutely crushed you. Like you had no idea what you were doing out there.
Yeah.
At all. And shout out SB, one of our other diehards in the chat was telling us all week, like this Wyoming team stands no chance. Like they're not good. They're not good.
No.
And they weren't good. And ASU showed and proved why they are not only a Big 12 team, but why they are a better team. And the thing that has gotten in ASU's way for a long time was ASU.
Yeah, it was themselves.
Right. And especially in the Herm Edwards era, they were so undisciplined. There was penalties every 5 seconds. And it was so like just rewarding and gratifying to see another team do that. Right. And not only do that, and it's not like ASU just won because of the penalties or because Wyoming didn't know what they were doing. No, they dominated them.
100%.
They ran rampant over them. It is so many people in the chat are saying this was like such an incredible start to the season. And to me, man, like we were talking about it, we expected a win.
Yeah, we did. We both predicted wins.
This is 10 times better than what I expected to be happening right here, right now at this moment.
No, absolutely. And look, Short Bus in the chat had said it a little bit earlier. Told you all months ago, no one listened to us, Totri. Well, guess what, man? They're gonna start. They're gonna absolutely start because this is again the first game of the season. You got so many opportunities to prove haters and doubters wrong, and you could do it on both sides of the ball. And that's where I want to take it. I want to take it to bottle service, our very first bottle service of the season. Look, I hate giving it to just a group, but you can't deny how good that ASU defense was. So they're getting bottle service. The entire unit is getting bottle service. 2 defensive touchdowns. Cyrus Fiaseu with an opening pick 6. And then, of course, you had Justin Watley with a scoop and score. 2 INTs. Cyrus Fiaseu and Keyshawn Elliott both getting their hands on the football tonight.
My Lord, Keyshawn looks so good.
Yeah.
He looks so good right off the bat. But what else have I been saying? Somebody to watch on this defense, Cyrus Fiaseu.
Yep.
He's going to be an absolute monster.
He was.
By the way, speaking of monsters, can we put that graphic back up on the screen really quick? Let me just indulge me for a second. You look really tall in this graphic. You look really tall.
I mean,
you're as tall as Shane Diefenbach.
I mean, the streets are saying that I've hit my growth spurt.
Kyle, can you confirm Totri has hit a growth spurt? He's like 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah. 6'1", 6'2".
I appreciate you, Kyle.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We could take that off now. Listen, I remember talking to you about giving bottle service to maybe this ASU defense.
Yeah.
And it was before the game. We were talking about, will we get it to a unit or whatever? And you were like, I just don't like giving it to units.
And I don't, but it's hard to deny.
Right. And then we got back here and it just kind of took a second and we were just like, it has to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Sam Leavitt had a case. Cam Skattebo had a case. The entire running back room, the offensive line had cases as well. We'll get into all of them. But this defense, it's also gratifying to to see something in practice come to reality. Yeah. And I know you can speak on this because you were at a lot more practices than I were. But even in the short time I was there, it was almost shocking how well this defense blended and gelled together.
Yeah.
And got takeaways. In the first 5 minutes, they got 2 takeaways. That was like over 20% of what they got last season combined.
No, you're 100% right. And you look, again, in all 3 levels of this defense, that defensive line was absolutely phenomenal against, yes, I know, a Wyoming team that, yes, they run the football. They were without their top 2 running backs, but the defensive line took care of that Wyoming offensive line. They did it in getting pressures. This is a team that had 5 TFLs, 3 sacks as a unit. Shout out Kavion Thunderbird. He got a sack.
Yeah.
Elijah O'Neal, his sack came on a big
O'Neal had
third down.
Great game. Pass breakup as well.
And then Clayton Smith as well. We talked about the 2 INTs. And then you had your pass breakups. Take away that last drive of the game, of course, from Wyoming. That was just pathetic. But overall, like a defensive performance, the D-line played phenomenal. People in the chat talking about the linebackers, Cyrus Fiaseyu, of course, Keyshawn Elliott, he had himself a phenomenal game. Kavion Thunderbird was really excited to see him. And then you take it even a level further, the defensive backs who we thought were going to be very, very good, a unit improved both on the perimeter and on the very back end of this defense with Xavier Alford, Shamari Simmons, Miles Rouser. He played a lot tonight. All these guys, really, Montana Warren, Cole Martin, they all saw the field tonight.
Rouser had a really good game. Yeah. Rouser made some really big plays. There was one play where if he was a little bit more on it, he could have gotten a pick, but that ball was also a duck thrown directly into the ground, so can't really blame him on that. He was there. He had some really big hits, some really big plays. LaTerrence Welch also had some fantastic pass breakups as well. Let me put this all into perspective. Let me read you off the leading receiver, rusher, and passer as far as yards go for this Wyoming offense.
Okay.
Evan Svoboda, 6 for 15, 42 yards.
Yeah, not good.
DJ Jones, 17 attempts, 43 yards. That's 2.5 per attempt, mind you. And receiving, Tyler King had 23 yards on 1 catch. Chris Durr caught the most passes with 3, but a total of 16 yards. Okay. Your leading receiver had 23 yards. Your leading rusher had 43 yards. And your leading passer had 42 yards.
They were just bad.
That's insane. I don't care who you're playing. Your quarterback had 42 yards.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. It wasn't good by any means for Wyoming. And I mean, again, that is not so much that Wyoming is a bad football team, because I don't think they're a bad football team. They were preseason poll for Mountain West. This is the 6th best team in that conference, right? So middle of the pack there. But this Arizona State defense came to play today, and it's again something that we've been saying for a long time. I said it on this podcast, I believe last week, that I think this defense can be a top 4 defense in the Big 12. And people in this office were laughing at me. People in this offense were calling me crazy. And I get it's just Wyoming. But when you have a performance like tonight, everybody else's ears in the Big 12, they perk up.
Yeah.
They see what Arizona State is doing. And a lot of people in the chat talking about the transfers, and it wasn't just the transfers on defense that played a phenomenal game, but let's give Sam Leavitt his flowers right now, because Sam Leavitt played nearly a flawless game. And I say nearly a flawless game because we were talking about in the car, a couple passes he would like to have back. The issue that we saw at times throughout camp was there's the occasional overthrow. We saw that on a couple passes tonight, specifically to a guy like Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
That'll come as chemistry starts to continue to build for those 2 guys. But overall, you look what Sam Leavitt did through the air, 14 of 22, 258, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, which is, again, huge for him and huge for Kenny Dillingham. That's something that they've been harping on all of camp since he got here. And then Sam Leavitt, 8 carries, 47 yards on the ground, and part of that gets taken away. He had more rushing yards than that, but because he got sacked, obviously that gets taken away. He proved to be a really, really talented and even better athletic quarterback than I think a lot of people initially thought.
I'm not uncomfortable saying that he's a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
Not to the point where you're going to have so many designed plays for him, but every time he broke down the field, he made a play. He made somebody miss. He's fast. He's genuinely fast. And we talked about this, like, all of our keys going into this game was this defense is fantastic. You need to see the offensive line. And Sam Leavitt has every single tool in his toolbox to be a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's, does he put it together? And I have absolutely no problem with the fact that he made some mistakes and the fact that he has something to clean up. In fact, it gets me a little bit excited.
It should. It should be a lot of bit excited.
Because when he cleans that up, that is not only a testament to him, but a testament to Kenny. And we will talk about this week, about what Kenny does with quarterbacks. We'll get deeper into it. But today, you saw somebody who was in control.
Yeah.
You saw somebody who was able to throw it downfield. Now, he had a few overthrows, but he had a lot of other passes on the move, across body, on the money. He was never out of control. He was never uncomfortable. He scrambled. He was able to pick up first downs. He used his body. Like, he was exactly what you want out of your redshirt freshman quarterback.
Yeah, redshirt freshman.
Again, you don't have an offense that's benefiting from continuity anywhere.
Yeah.
Your offensive line played great, but they don't have the continuity. Right? You have the wide receiver room. They played great. They don't have the continuity. Your running back room is the most with the continuity because of DeCarlos Brooks, who looked great. And of course, Cam Skattebo.
Yeah.
But then you also mix in, listen, what Sam Leavitt did is incredibly impressive given any circumstances. And it should absolutely get you excited for what he can do in weeks to come.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, you're 100% right. And like, there are people in the chat talking about Leavitt having as much rushing yards as Cam Skattebo. Again, I hate the way in college football that they take away rushing yards for a quarterback if they get sacked. If you do that, right, if you give his rushing yards back from the 2 times he got sacked, he actually was Arizona State's leading rusher tonight with 61 rushing yards on the ground, which would have been more than DeCarlos Brooks. And really anybody else in the backfield. So again, there are people in the chat talking about they love his arm strength, they love his athleticism, and I think that's all great. And he's just getting started. You're just scratching the surface to see what he can be because this is his first career start.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Now, the one thing, Sam, I'm talking to you now. Please learn to slide.
Yeah,
please learn to slide because the taking hits, and I get you're fighting for a yard. That's not going to slide against some of these Big 12 linebackers. It's just not. The Big 12 safeties, they're going to come downhill, and they're going to be a little bit bigger. They're going to be a little bit stronger. They're going to be a little bit faster than what you're seeing in your non-con against Wyoming and then eventually a Texas State. So I'll leave it at that. Overall, Sam Leavitt, an absolutely phenomenal performance to kick off this 2024 college football season.
Yeah, he's got to rein in his arm power. He's got to learn how to slide.
That's it. I'm good with that. I'm cool.
Short and medium passes, he was absolutely on the money.
Methodical.
He was good in reading the defense, handing the ball off. He was good moving on his own right, and he never looked uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Never.
I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it.
You genuinely, sure, if you wanted a perfect performance from your redshirt freshman quarterback in week 1, you could have asked for more. Other than that, there's nothing else you could have asked for out of this guy.
No.
Nothing.
No. Well, let's keep moving it on with the Arizona State offense. I want to get to the running back room because the running back room is, again, we talk, as some of the best position groups on this team, we've talked about the safeties, and then offensively, we always talk about the running back room just because of how many guys we think can contribute. And tonight you saw that, just how many guys can contribute. Cam Skattebo had 11 carries. DeCarlos Brooks made the most of his 6 carries.
Dude.
Jason Brown Jr., he had 4 carries. Kyson Brown had 6 carries. Alton McCaskill had 7 carries. Hell, you had Jeff Sims in the game. He got 3 carries.
Jake Smith got a carry.
Yeah, it's everything we thought it was going to be. In an effort tonight, I don't want to read too far into that running back depth because you don't know what the rotation looks like, A, when Raleek Brown gets back, and how often they rotated these guys simply because of what the score was. But I think even if you take guys that had 5+ carries, we're talking about McCaskill, Kyson Brown, DeCarlos Brooks, and Cam Skattebo. That's 4 guys that are touching the ball at least 5 times, all of which you're very, very comfortable with. Kyson Brown, 6 carries, 25 yards. He averaged 4 carries a tote. Alton McCaskill, I think, just needs to get a little bit more comfortable in this offense. 7 carries, 17 yards, so only 2.4 a pop. D'Lo, 6 carries, 47 yards, a touchdown. He was averaging 7.8 yards a carry. And one thing I'll say about DeCarlos Brooks is, and this is something as somebody that has talked to DeCarlos that I don't even think I fully understood, was just how great of a running back he is in terms of ball carrier vision. Mm-hmm. He can read an offensive line and make his cut, and then he has a burst, which I think people forgot about. And then, of course, I mean, what what can you say about Scat, right? Like, this guy just does everything.
A lot. I mean, here's the thing. Scat, 11 attempts, 49 yards, a touchdown, longest run of 9. If you saw him in the game, he played above that stat line.
Yeah.
But if this was the ASU team of last year, they would have had to rely on him so much more.
He would have had 18 carries.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what, man? Like, I probably overrated the amount of carries that he was going to get this season just based off of what happened last season.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be this like system where they kind of ramp him up, and as you get later in the season, he's probably going to get more carries than he did this week. But if you just talk about the 1-2 punch of Cam Skattebo and DeCarlos Brooks, what an incredible 1-2 running back punch. Yeah. Maybe the best in the Big 12. Like, as far as different running types and different running styles.
That's going to get people going.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think there's a case that this is the deepest room. That this is the deepest running back room in the Big 12. From 1 to what? 5?
Yeah.
1 to 5, Cam, DeCarlos,
Kyson,
Jason, Alton McCaskill, and Raleek Brown. 6.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys.
You have 6 guys that you can put out there on any play, and they could actually do something for you. It's not just like taking a risk.
You're right.
Right? DeCarlos' first touch of the season was a touchdown. And this is somebody that, if he stays healthy, is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Next to Cam Skattebo. I think Shane thinks I'm insane.
Yeah, I think Shane got to
maybe
that
the top 2 is a little bit nuts.
But
I think one, I don't think you can find another room that has another running back room that has 6 guys that can do what this running back room
I
can
agree
do.
with you on that.
That's what I'll put my flag on.
Okay, I can live with that. I can absolutely live with that. And I believe it was D. Brem earlier in the chat said, and this is the best part, right? Is here's the thing, guys. We were running a very vanilla playbook as well. We haven't even seen what this offense can be. And Marcus Arroyo, he was asked about that earlier in the week, right? Just like, how much do you have to open up the playbook? How much do you want to in a first game? And he said, you're just going to make sure that we have enough to execute and go out and win. If you have to open up the playbook heavily to go out and win, then that's what they're going to do. They didn't have to do that tonight. From start to finish, it was absolutely dominant. Yes, the defense did what it did. Quarterback played well. You had a stable of running backs do their thing. And then let's get into the offensive line. The offensive line was a question mark going into the season. You knew you had Lee Fautanu at center, and he was going to be your staple of this offensive line like he was last year. You had Ben Coleman at left guard. He played a great game. And then really everywhere else on the offensive line was a little bit of a... well, this could go either way, right? So we saw Emmett Boley for the majority of fall camp be the starting left tackle. Josh Atkins, he rolled out there tonight. He had himself a phenomenal game. He's a transfer. On the right side of the offensive line at right guard, you had Cade Briggs. Cade Briggs starting at right guard, whether that be because he was going to be the starter or simply because Sean Na was out and is going to be out for a couple weeks due to injury. He had himself a solid game as well. And then at right tackle, you have Mad Max, who, again, he played a pretty solid game. Up front, Arizona State had their way, whether they wanted to run the football, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, which you run the ball 3 plays in a row, you got yourself a first down, which you'll take any day of the week. And then offensively, Sam Leavitt only got sacked 2 times. And in reality, one of those was he was just probably hanging onto the football trying to make a play for too long. So overall, it was great. Like, it was absolutely overall phenomenal performance from an Arizona State offense and defense that, I'll tell you what, nobody in the Big 12 thought was going to happen.
No, nobody in the Big 12 thought this team was going to be good in any form or fashion. If you look at Cam Skattebo's betting lines for this game, he was wildly disrespected.
Yeah.
So this offensive line, this is exactly what you wanted to see from them. Absolutely. And
you needed
no,
to see
you
this.
did. And honestly, like, there was some pressure on them, not like outside of just going to this game and performing, but on the coaching staff, as far as they shook some things up.
Yeah.
Within a week and a half.
Atkins moving to left tackle.
Right, of this game starting. But listen, I will never doubt them. And I said this at the time. I'm like, listen, you can maybe look at this one way, but the other way is this was just the right decision, and they're making it now instead of reactionary. Right? And this offensive line looked cohesive. Shout out to Saga. Like, getting these guys together, getting them to play together, and they look talented. And I get it. This is a Wyoming team that is leaving some to be desired, and I'm sure that some people are just going to talk about, oh, but what about who you played or whatever. Listen, they dominated. They
It's
dominated
college football, man.
They dominated. You beat who's in front of you. And Shane's in the chat saying, when's the last time the opener was this encouraging? We were trying to talk about that earlier. I don't know. I mean, as far as like individual performances, Jaden Daniels' debut against Kent State was extremely encouraging. But as far as overall,
he didn't score 48 points in that game.
Overall team performance on both sides of the ball after a season like last season,
I don't know.
there's nothing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some ASU fans that are either listening to this or in the chat that know like the last 40 years of history, like the back of their hand. I'm sure there's something.
Short Bus wants an apology. What do you have to apologize for?
I always give Short Buses due. I don't know what I have to apologize for. I literally gave you your due earlier in this show when I said you called it to be a blowout and that Wyoming was nowhere near as good as we were.
I don't know. You just
I don't know what I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that's all you need to say.
I am, whatever I did to hurt you, Short Bus.
No, that's fair.
I'm
That's fair.
sorry. You are a value diehard. And can I say something about being a diehard as well? If you were a diehard today, you got some exclusive pregame videos. We were down on the field. I was taking a bunch and sending them all in there. And if you're not able to go to the games, it's like the next best thing.
Yeah.
Right. So go to gophnx.com, hit that diehard button, become a diehard today, join our Discord. So many ASU fans in there chatting it up and just letting it rip. Of course, we have Suns and Cardinals and Diamondbacks and maybe another school that we don't need to mention all in there as well. You get a free shirt, you get a free hat, you get exclusive content, you get video for our usually audio only episodes that you do with Mike of Behind Enemy Lines. You get the video for that. You get exclusive written content and ad-free experience on our website. So much. And that's just such an incredible place for ASU fans to be. And Sharon says diehard Discord chat was lit today. We were all in there just absolutely having fun.
Yeah.
We're just having a good time, talking crap. You know, it just beating up on Wyoming. And we'll talk more about this win over Miami. Oh, wow. I don't know where I am.
Yeah, I don't know
Wyoming
had a day.
Wyoming. Okay, let me get my words about me. Wyoming. But first, I would like to tell you about our friends over at CoachStarkHomes. Of course, the show is brought to you by CoachStarkHomes. So was our fantasy draft over this
Coach
past
Stark was
week
in the chat.
on Thursday. Coach Stark was there. Coach Stark was in the chat today. He was there at the fantasy chat. I am just all over the place.
You got it.
Listen, all I know, even when I'm mixing up my words and my brain's not working because ASU whooped up on Wyoming, I know that if you need a home, you need to call Coach Starkhomes, not only because he was a high school basketball coach and an educator for only 20 years who values relationships with customers and with players, not only because him and his wife are ASU alumni and Sun Angel members since the 1970s, and not only because he was best of the West 3 years in a row, 2020, 2021, and 2022, but because I know personally that he's going to care about you. He's going to care about getting you in the right home or selling your home to the right person at the right price. And I can give you an example on why he actually cares. Because if you're in the market for a home with interest rates the lowest they've been since 2023, if you've been thinking about buying your first home or upgrading what you currently own, right now is the time. And if you're thinking that, get a hold of Coach Stark today. He's going to help you out. You can get in touch with him at 623-695-3929. Go to CoachStarkHomes.com or follow him on socials at Coach Stark Homes. If you tell Chris that you heard about Coach Stark Homes through this podcast, the PHNX Sun Devils podcast, he will. And this is insane. Like, this is genuinely insane. If you use him to either sell your current home or purchase a new home, he will donate $1,200 of his own commission to your closing costs to represent the Devils heading to the Big 12 this season. That's a Sun Devil through and through. That's $1,200 in savings just for PHNX Sun Devils listeners.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Look, whether you're in the market for a new home or a new car, PHNX has you covered with some of our lovely partners, including Sanderson Ford. They are also looking to help you guys save some money. Sanderson Ford is giving you big payoffs like 0% financing on new 2024 F-150 Escape. The F-150, the Escape, the Edge, the Explorer, the Expedition with just added huge Labor Day sell-a-thon rebates of up to $3,400. I had the luxury of spending an entire weekend in a 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big
Lucky
Ben.
man.
It was seriously maybe my favorite weekend of the year.
You were in your
because-
element, for
dude.
sure.
I loved that car. I drove that car all over town because I did not want to get out of it. The sound system was phenomenal. The interior was, I mean, just beautifully done. It was comfy. The AC was running cold. Like it was
Need that right now.
It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And look, if the 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Ben isn't for you, which first off, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be. They have a ton of different options over at Sanderson Ford. Just go check them out. Tell them PHNX sent you, and they are going to absolutely take care of you. They have some of the best, if not the best, customer service in the game. Shop the Sanderson Ford Playoff Payoff Sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. They're giving you big payoffs like 0% financing with just added huge Labor Day sell-a-thon rebates of up to $3,400. All offers expire 9/3/24. Finance offers for 36 months OAC through Ford Motor Credit, up to $3,400 in rebates on the F-150 XLT. Get 0% for 36 months OAC from Ford Credit. See dealer for details.
I want to get one thing clear.
Get it clear.
They will treat you right whether you mention us or not. But mention us.
Yeah.
Because those are our friends.
Do it.
And we want you to
They're
at
our
least say
family.
hi. Say hi.
Our family.
Just say hi from Erik and Anthony. Okay?
Anthony, I didn't like that.
No, I know you didn't. That felt dirty.
Felt gross.
That felt really wrong, actually.
Yeah.
From Erik and Totri.
There you
From
go.
Long Neck Larry
The tortoise Totri?
and Torty.
Torty. Don't call me Torty.
The tortoise.
Nah, Torty's.
You don't like Torty?
My old football coach called me Torty, and I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like
But
it.
Petey calls you Torty.
Yeah, it's Petey.
But I can't do it.
You're not Petey.
That's fair. That's a really good point. I'm not Petey.
Look, let's just get into it. And now for the Sanderson Ford drive of the
Yes.
game. Shop the Sanderson Ford Playoff Payoff Sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Erik, we had a ton of different options for our Sanderson Ford drive of the game, but I don't think there was a better option than that first drive of the game. Not for the Arizona State offense, but for the Arizona State defense. Of course, it was a two-play drive, and you get the Zyrus Fiaseu pick six to kick off the 2024 college football season in Tempe. That was hands down the best drive of the day for Arizona State fans.
It's so hard because there's so many good options.
But that was, it's the start of it.
That put my mind at ease.
Yeah.
That made me just enjoy the moment because, you sit back, and especially for people like us and our diehards who are here every single day, you sit back in this anticipation state and you just wonder, am I right? Am I wrong? Is something bad going to happen? Is something good going to happen? You just don't know.
Yeah.
And with this team in this state, there's no way you could walk into that stadium and say you knew what was going to happen today. I knew they were going to win.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how.
Okay.
And I didn't know if it was going to be dominating. And once that play happened, I just felt this calm. It wasn't I was excited, but I was just like, oh, we're going to kick their ass.
It was nirvana for you.
We are going to kick their butts, dude. That
Full-blown zen.
was just that put me in such a good state for the game. And then, of course, as it continued throughout, it was just beautiful. Zyrus set the tone. This defense set the tone. I think without a doubt, that's the drive of the game.
And I think, again, doing it with a transfer, right? A transfer going out there and starting the season like that. A guy who was the team defensive MVP for San Diego State just a year ago, and really being the second linebacker for Arizona State proved that he made the right decision tonight to transfer to Arizona State. He's been flying around all fall, and to see it come to life in a game, the first game of the season was just phenomenal. And again, you said there were a ton of amazing drives for Arizona State, and I think that's true. For me, you weren't even back in the press box coming down from the field before Zyrus had taken it all the way in.
I was there. Listen, I'm going to admit something. Hand up. I'm an honest guy. I didn't see the play live.
I did.
You're a lucky man. I stayed down to get that beautiful, beautiful content of them running out onto the field. But I was walking back. I heard the crowd go nuts. I turn around and we're talking in the line to get on the media elevator. Who was that? Who was that? Who was that? What happened? Did they score? They scored? What? It just started.
And they were on defense.
They're on defense. I said, what happened? And then I go on my phone and I see Zyrus Fiaseu, and I'm like, oh, I have to see this. And I get upstairs and I see it, and it was just this beautiful moment. And hey, throughout the fans, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible turnout, incredible support, and everything like that as well. Genuinely, like that moment, the entire stadium erupted, and it felt like this demon was just lifted off everybody's shoulders, and it was like, let's party.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
Ooh, we got Short Bus in the chat already making predictions. Relax, folks. We're winning next game by 17. Book it.
Woo!
Well, look, we got a whole week to get into
We're
that.
gonna talk about that.
We're still going
Short
to
Bus.
enjoy what we got here tonight. And I do want to get to Aftertaste for the first time this season. And for those of you that don't know, Aftertaste is definitely the most grotesque segment that we have.
I see the tagline
this
that you have in
network.
this on our rundown.
And it changes. It changes every single game. And for everybody in the chat, I want you to answer this question. So the point of this segment is you tell me what this game tasted like.
Sure.
Right? But I'm not going to keep it as PG as that, Erik. So I'm going to ask you and Kyle, what was blasted into your mouth this evening?
Vindication. Or if you put it into alcoholic terms, celebratory champagne.
Ooh, champagne.
Okay. Because we popped a bottle
We did.
on all the haters, on all the doubters, on everybody who said that, quite frankly, we sucked.
Yeah.
But you know what we did? We popped a bottle on Wyoming's grave. I don't care if you score a touchdown at the end of the game. You suck.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah. So champagne, you're going champagne?
I'm going to go with champagne, but I think the sweet taste of victory also applies here.
Victory.
Sweet, sweet victory.
Yeah. Oh,
We're having a good time, folks.
I love it. For me, this just tastes like a victory beer, man. That's what this tastes like.
Cheers to that, bro.
It's like you can't even put it into words when you're doing this and it's the summer and it's early fall and you're not getting to cover games or you're not getting to go watch games. And it's like your team just won their very first game of a new season. It's not just hope anymore, right? Because for how many months is it hope? And then it's now you see it. And at a certain point, hope turns to legitimate, like, I don't even know the word, relevancy here, right? Like,
I mean, legitimate feelings backed by fact.
All of
not
your
thought.
exactly. Your hope has been brought to life.
Sure.
Right? It's no longer hope. It's somewhat of a physical thing now. And the physical thing is the beer. Right? Like that's what it is. Because you don't drink a beer if you lose. And if you do, no. No. You drink liquor if you lose.
That's fair.
You don't drink beer
That's
if you
fair.
lose. Like if you're a Wyoming fan right now and you got absolutely blasted, you're not drinking a beer. You're drinking hard liquor to forget this evening.
We did see some Wyoming fans leaving quite sad and depressed.
Yeah, no, it was painful for them.
Yeah, as
you know
it should be.
what's more depressing than losing 48-7?
What?
Living in Wyoming. Like
At Ralph
that is
Anderson.
absolutely way more disappointing than getting a just absolute beating by 39 points.
I mean, there is nothing better than a victory beer. I mean, a victory drink, a celebratory drink, but something about the crack when you know you're.
Yeah,
You're
I
about
thought you were
to
talking
have
about something else for a second. I'm
Not
just
that
being
type of
honest.
celebration.
I'm just being honest.
Not that type of celebration. No, listen, this game left no sour taste. Anything that was a negative was something that can easily be worked on and fixed, which I don't want you to look perfect. I want you to look like you can be better because you got to play better teams. You got to play better opponents. You have to play better players. Like you have to play an SEC opponent. You know, like this is not the peak. Wyoming is not the peak of what you're going to play. So I don't want you to look perfect. I want you to look like you could be better. And they do. They do. And that tastes so sweet. And I never want to get this taste out of my mouth.
Pause. Will in
You're the one who
chat-
said blasted into your mouth earlier. Don't pause me, bro.
I can pause you.
No.
Why?
Absolutely not.
You can pause
You
me.
pause yourself.
I didn't pause myself.
You
You said
should.
it. You said it.
You should pause
You
yourself.
said it.
Pause.
This whole segment's a pause.
Hold up. Pause. This game was fantastic.
Nah, it was
Let's just take a
absolutely-
second and breathe and just talk about how
It was
amazing
absolutely
this game
awesome.
was.
Look, we are continuing our post-game show. We've actually got some post-game sound that we're going to get to here in just a little bit from Arizona State running back Cameron Skattebo, and then, of course, head coach Kenny Dillingham. We've also got arguably my favorite segment that we're going to get to at the tail end of the show.
Is it the What Erik Got Right segment?
Well, you tell me. What did Erik get right?
Cyrus Fiusayu is a beast.
He is a beast.
His defense is connected and dangerous. Shout out to Tori
Lavello.
Sam Leavitt has all the tools to be a fantastic quarterback. Kenny Dillingham is absolutely in control of this team in year 2, and there is zero doubt that he is a fantastic football mind.
You think the people that were questioning him after a 3-9 season, after he was handed a styrofoam plate of poo, like, do you think the people that were questioning him after that was handed to him are now rethinking it just a little?
Yeah, listen. I think people disrespected Kenny Dillingham by picking Arizona State to be the worst team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I think that's a direct comment on Kenny Dillingham, because this roster got more talented. So it's a couple things. Either you're ignorant as to how much better this roster is, or you're ignorant to how good Kenny Dillingham is. And either way, that's disrespectful.
I feel like there's just a lot of people out there that just don't know ball.
They don't. Well, it's not, I can't even like get mad at them. I can say you're wrong.
No, I'm not mad.
I know. I can say you're wrong and that we were right.
Yeah.
But the lack of attention for this team was understandable, right? But for anybody that was looking closely, you knew what was happening here. You knew what happened the moment Kenny walked in through that door. You heard him speak for the first time, let alone what happened last season, and didn't dissuade us. It didn't take us out of it. We didn't spend the offseason doubting Kenny Dillingham and the staff. No. Because, what did you say? They got a styrofoam plate full of poo.
Yeah.
Right?
Not even full. Just a couple little pellets.
And you know what? They turned it into a serviceable meal last season. You had some hope. You're like, you know what?
They dressed it up.
There was a little flavor.
They dressed it up. Well,
yeah.
There
was a little flavor.
Ketchup.
Yeah, but something.
Yeah, it was
right?
something.
It's no tartar sauce, according to you.
Dude, don't even.
Tonight was the tartar sauce of games, according to Anthony Totri.
I love tartar sauce.
I had tartar sauce that day.
We had tartar sauce.
No, I did.
No, we.
No, I did.
Why are you so mean to me, huh?
Me? I'm the nicest to you. I hype you up like crazy. I called you a real ball knower earlier this episode.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true.
I appreciate it.
I call a spade a spade.
It is what it is.
And
man.
ASU look like a damn good football team.
If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Don't call it a dinosaur. Shout out to Flex.
There you go,
Don't call it a dinosaur.
There you go.
Wyoming, certainly not a dinosaur.
Oh, my goodness.
Wyoming was the duck tonight.
There you go. Look, ASU, they ate duck for sure. They ate some quality duck. Look, we're going to get to some of this post-game sound here in just a second, but I do want to give a shout-out to some of our PHNX diehards that are in the chat. And that we're just absolutely going nuts in that diehard Discord all night long. You've got Short Bus. You got Donald, who's going to be listening to this in the morning. Shout out to Duck himself. And then you have Sharon, Bees. You got a couple other folks in there that are just constantly either in the chat.
CWP was in the diehard Discord chat. Chris, who's a diehard, was in here earlier. It's such an incredible community. And I think that it's really fun to watch somebody like Donald be so excited for the game, stay up late because he's not a local guy, and then be like, you know what? You guys are going to be the first thing I listen to in the morning at 5 a.m. And I told our diehard Discord, I'm coming different today. This is not off-season Erik. This is regular season Erik.
No, Erik was fired up.
I was such a good guy in the press box. Like I was, I kept my mind about me. I was civil. I wasn't saying anything crazy. The moment we got out of that press box, I was an animal unleashed.
Yeah, you should have seen him in the car, man.
Yeah, crazy. I was screaming. How could you not? You should have seen me when they scored that BS touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I was upset about it.
I was not a happy guy. Because we were talking, the best thing that could happen with this game was they keep the 0.
Yeah.
They keep the 0 at the end of it. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but that would have been nice.
We were on the way back, and this is where you did wrong tonight. And I'm going to let you know. Yeah, just where you... Why you sound like Scooby-Doo? Every time you do that, bro. Look, I told you on the way back. I said, I'm not going to say it right now because I don't want to jinx it. I said, remind me. Here we are, over an hour in the show. Wow. You didn't remind me.
Hey, remember that thing you said in the car?
Well, there you go.
What was it?
It's the fact that this team got out of here tonight with a 39-point dub, right? I'm doing the math right on that, right?
That's I know exactly what you're going to say.
No, it's not 30. No, 41 points.
Yeah, you're close.
Wow, my math was off for the entire time.
Hey, dude, it's 12:09 a.m. Technically, 41. The game was yesterday.
That's honestly hand up. That's on me. I studied sports, not math. This team got out of here with a 41-point dub, and injury-wise, looks pretty good.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I didn't want to say it either. You were Mr. Jinx today. For sure. You were Mr. Jinx. You were Mr. Jinx for sure today. The things that you were saying in the press box. We still got over it, though. You know what? That's a testament to this team. They overcome the Anthony Totri jinx.
That is what it is.
But yeah, I mean, what? It was, again, there was no storm today.
Yes.
There was threatening of a storm. Like, it was around Mountain America Stadium when the game was about to start.
Yeah.
It looked bad.
Then there was a rainbow.
Then there was a rainbow. And you know what? That was the sign.
That was awesome. Melk Wants to Vault was also awesome. I know people in the chat are giving him some love. Let's give him some flowers, man. Melk Wants to Vault in special teams, offensively, at wide receiver, moving around pre-snap, doing everything that he does to help make this offense go. And he was getting beat up out there, both on special teams.
He took some hits.
Some nasty, just illegal tackles. And overall, this guy proved to, I think, everybody why he deserves to be a starting wide receiver for this team. And it is awesome to see a guy that, got a little bit of a run last year and then opted to return to Arizona State and just kind of run it back and then have a really strong start to the season. It's great to see.
Yeah, there was so much, we're going to have such a fun week. This will be the most fun week of PHNX Sun Devils and probably since ASU basketball got the 5 stars.
Yeah.
This
the
is
5 stars.
Let's talk about Koa Pete.
Koa Pete. Koa Pete out there.
Sorry, I'm so sorry for screaming.
I think we both just remembered at the same time
that Koa Pete
was at the game. I mean, what a phenomenal way to introduce a kid to Arizona State football.
We're talking about that. There have been times where they've had big recruits here and they have flamed out.
Yeah.
Right? The fans were fantastic. The players were great. The energy was awesome. The score ended up not 39 points. 41
he was talking
points.
with Bobby. He was talking with Bobby pregame. I saw him.
Yeah, his first official visit that he's taking. He has a slew of them afterwards. But like you said, you want to be the first or you want to be the last? You're the first. Okay? Yeah. Come home.
Not even come home. Stay home.
Just stay home.
Just stay.
Be that guy.
Stay put.
Koa, you're that guy if you come here.
I mean, his brother's on the team.
Sure.
On the football team.
Yeah.
So...
listen, listen, this was a fantastic showing for all of Sun Devil Nation, right? And listen, while we're kind of getting in the weeds here, let's talk about the fact that Graham Rossini lowered parking costs for everybody and went from $40 to $20 today. I genuinely don't think that was a small feat. That was something that was really, really great for this community. Yeah. And I think Graham has shown that he really gets it as well. And that was something that was fantastic, another positive. And I'm excited to hear what Kenny and what Cam have to say after this game because as great as, it's fun talking to you, man. And there are people in the chat liking the energy. I would much rather hear what Kenny Dillingham had to say about anything, to be honest.
Well, let's do it. Let's go ahead. Let's get to Kenny Dillingham's opening statement following Arizona State's 41-point victory over Wyoming.
Kids love football. I think that was the easiest thing to take away is the passion they have for the game. They play really hard. They practice really hard though, so it really is a reflection of how we've been practicing. We played hard, but what I was proud of was we grew from playing smart. There was a few times that we had personal fouls towards us from the opponent, and our guys didn't respond. And last year we would have lost our minds. And for us to be able to just lock back in and go make the next play, continue to make the next play is a lot of growth for the football team. But that's probably the number one thing. And then the fact that we dominated the line of scrimmage. That team's a team that runs the football and stops the run, and they've been like that for 6 years. And the fact that we went out there and ran the ball for 240 yards, and I think we outrushed them by 201 or something like that, a little bit over 200 yards in the football game. There's no chance on earth we could have even come close to doing that last year. So it's testament to how those guys are practicing.
Improvement, right? What did Kenny say last year? It's like bamboo. And I know at this point it's run dry, it's cliche, whatever you want to say about the analogy, but it really is bamboo. And this is a team that last year had to go through the weeds, had to go through the gross losses, the bad losses, the injuries, the pick sixes, the just tough dogfight games that you didn't come out on top. And tonight was they reaped the rewards of everything that they had put in the coaching staff, going out and getting guys, retaining guys, the summer workouts, the spring workouts, the winter workouts, the fall camp, pushing through to now, and coming out from literally the opening kickoff and dominating the opponent.
They improved on so many different sides of the ball. Turnovers, 180 difference, right? Penalties, fantastic, cleaned up. Offensive line, completely different. Quarterback play, let's be honest, completely different.
Yeah.
Listen, I know that Southern Utah game was weird.
Yeah, it was fun being out there with the team and seeing the atmosphere. Felt like I played pretty well. Always going to be certain things you want back. Overall, happy about the win.
Leavitt show today.
Yeah. Do we have Sam Leavitt right there? Was that Sam?
That was Sam
going
Leavitt.
right now?
That's Sam.
All right.
I got Sam.
Kyle was eager. Kyle was a little eager to get to Sam Leavitt.
I want to hear Sam.
I
Let's
want to
get
hear
to
Sam
it.
on the debut. Can
Let's
we
hear. Let's see what
Sam
Sam Leavitt had to say.
Yeah, it was fun being out there with the team and seeing the atmosphere. Felt like I played pretty well. Always going to be certain things you want back. Overall, happy about the win.
Short, sweet.
Such a quarterback answer.
That is, I was literally thinking the same thing, dude. I was thinking the same thing. This guy, let me get just like basic and like surface level. This guy exudes quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
This dude is a quarterback through and through. And there are lots of guys who exude quarterback who just aren't good. So far, what we've seen from Sam Leavitt is the opposite.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to go out there and call him a Heisman. I'm not going to go out there and call him the best quarterback of the Big 12 or anything like that. But he showed you enough to be excited and confident in what's going on. And you don't want him to go out there and be like, I did great. I did amazing. I did awesome. I'm perfect. I did good.
No,
I
you're
did
right.
good. I did good. I'm happy with what I did, but let's move on and let's move forward.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're going to enjoy this win for less than 24 hours, and then you're on to Mississippi State. That's just kind of how it goes. Look, we heard from Kenny Dillingham. We heard from Sam Leavitt. Let's hear from Quattro himself.
Team, you guys seen it. I seen it for myself. I felt more comfortable on the sidelines. I got taken out 8 minutes left in the third quarter. That's a good feeling. We push each other. Leaders have pushed each other, and everyone's been working. It's starting to pay off.
Did you learn something about the team tonight?
I knew a lot about the team. Coming out of Camp T, it was the biggest thing. We all seen it. We all understood how close we were. We knew who we were fighting with and for. It's definitely a different change, and it means a lot to me to be able to see that and that I'm a part of something like that.
I think what's kind of being lost with Cam, everybody talks about how good he is. Everybody talks about how the fact that, he could be a Sunday guy. He's slimmed down. He's changed his running style. You're looking at somebody who is, quite frankly, fighting for a career at the next level, fighting to get drafted, fighting to be somebody who makes this their full-on professional career, right? And there are some people who would look at his stat line in his position and be upset, who would be like 11 attempts for 49 yards and a touchdown. That's not what I want to be. That's not what it's the Cam Skattebo show, right? But what do you say? I'm so happy that as a team, we were able to show people and be better. And I think that this entire team is built with people like Cam Skattebo, but when you have the talent that he has, and I know he's going to have games where he's going to be relied upon a lot more.
Yeah.
But you can look back and just be satisfied with how amazing everybody else performed too. When you are the best player on offense, maybe the best player on the team, that's a special type of personality, a special type of person to have. And it's really great when you have a running back room that's maybe the deepest in the Big 12.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Cam wants to win, right? That's why he came back. Cam wants to win. He could have got a bag somewhere, just like some of the other players that left. And, sometimes the grass isn't always greener, and I know Scat is happy that he's an Arizona State Sun Devil. But look, we've been going for over 70 minutes.
Hit a like. Come on.
It's 12:20. Lights are starting to dim here. So do you know what time it is?
Buddy, I know what time it is. Take us home.
Kyle, do you know what time it is?
I know what time it is. It's closing time.
It's closing time, baby. My favorite segment. Let's get that sweet, just sexy music.
I'm just going to get off screen.
It fires me up. Let's go ahead. Let's get to closing time. Our 3 takeaways from Arizona State's 41-point victory. Starting with that defense. It is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. 2 touchdowns themselves. 3 overall turnovers. Brian Ward has that defense cooking. And then, of course, let's talk about that depth. That depth for Arizona State at running back, at safety, a wide receiver, defensive line, offensive line, the list goes on and on. That depth is real. It's legit. It is here. Sun Devil fans, this last one is for you. You deserve this. You're going to wake up tomorrow 1-0. And there's a lot of college football teams that can't say that. Enjoy it. You deserve it. You've been through hell, and you're on the other side. Guys, that is going to do it for tonight's PHNX Sun Devil show.
Put her there.
Hit that
What
like
a
button.
show.
Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. You can follow the show, PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow this guy at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. You can follow DJ Coop at K Coop Sports. In the meantime, guys, go Devils. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.